We've all done it. We find that idea that we're passionate about, and it becomes your whole world. You start the drawings and the patterns and the sourcing of materials. And as you go along, you might think of that one extra thing that will make this thing even better. Sure, it starts as one thing, or maybe two, and then it's a handful of things. And all these one extra things that we're supposed to enhance, well, they all have challenges of their own. New, potentially easier project ideas that have nothing to do with your current project become the new shiny thing that you want to do instead. And then you hit that wall, project entropy. It's inevitable. Welcome to Mission Creep. Here's where you find all the unfinished objects, or UFOs. My initial plan was to recreate and reenact this image in my own manuscript challenge. Instead of focusing on an actual challenge, I kind of went everywhere and ended up on a few tangents. So how do you stay on target? Start with defining what you're making. It can be as simple as making a dress to copying that 15th century blue linen dress from the Tech Queen of Sanitatis. The more specific, the easier it will be later. Know when your project is done so you know when to stop. This is where all those add-ons come from. You're going to end up with some amazing ideas, write them down. But if they're not part of your specific goal, they could prevent you from finishing the original thing. Ready for the hard one? Take the time to figure out if you're able to make this item with your current knowledge. If you're missing a piece, you'll need time to learn it. And if you need help, you're going to need to take the time to figure out who or where you're learning from. Here's where you're going to look at your plan so far and make sure it's still relevant. If you're planning on attending an early medieval gathering, don't show up in a 15th century gown. It may be beautiful and awesome, but don't be that person. Now you set your timeline and you know your wiggle room. Variants are an amazing part of the MCU, but you need to know whether or not you have a hard or soft date. A hard date is, I'm making this thing for my wedding on this date. A soft date is by the end of October. A warning about soft date, some people are going to use this as an excuse to delay a project until it becomes a hard date. If you have pieces that need to come together, break them up. For each piece, use these steps and you'll protect the timeline. And the most important part of this whole thing is to practice self-compassion. Sometimes life events are going to prevent you from getting your project done. Learning to be mindful about what's going to stress you out and where you need support. Learning to be understanding towards yourself so if something goes wrong versus being hypercritical. And remembering that every maker, from your favorite YouTuber to your favorite TV personality, makes mistakes. They find a thing to learn and they move on. I hope I've helped you figure out mission creep, or at least send you on the right directions for some self-compassion. Now go be creative. And don't forget to tag me in the comments so I can see what you've been working on.